In this video, we attempt to answer the simple, but nevertheless very important question of what is the battery range difference between a full power EMTB and one of the new breed of mid-assist Bosch SX drive units. Bosch launched the new SX motor in the summer, a mid-assist motor, meaning lighter bikes with smaller batteries. But how far can you travel on these bikes compared to a full power bike? The Whyte E-Lyte is a 150mm travel bike with a 400 watt-hour battery in the down tube, with the option of a 250 watt-hour power more range extender. It has 55 Nm of torque. The Whyte E160 has 750 watt hours in the tank, but it's a bit more powerful. This time it has 85 Nm, which means it's a bit more gutsy, it's a bit more potent. At the same time, it might be using more of those precious watt hours, right? Well, maybe. In general, it's simple physics. Well, so they say. To get lighter bikes, you need smaller batteries. However, in order to get the same range, you need less power too. The question then, which I'm sure many of you will want to know, is which of these two bikes is going to deliver the greater range? Now, the Whyte E-Lyte actually has 30% or around about 30% less power. However, it's only got 14% less battery capacity. And that's because, well, we will have a 250 watt-hour range extender bolted to that down tube. So the E160, it's 5 kilos heavier. In theory, it's going to draw more juice from that battery. So it seems, physics it seems, and on paper, this lighter bike could deliver the greater range. Today, we have a cross-country style loop to begin with plenty of dips and rises, mud, ruts and roots, and all off-road. The latter part of the ride will increase the climbing intensity and session the downhill runs in the bike park. Okay folks, let's get rolling. Today we'll be using the factory settings and of course, full turbo mode. Okay, so we're up and rolling now on the E-Lyte, and I've got 400 watt hours in the tank in the down tube, and I've also got a 250 watt hour power more range extender. Now, even though I'm in turbo mode, I'm still under the 25 km an hour limiter, so that's not going to play a part in this head-to-head on range. I'm sure you get an idea of just how rooty this trail is, and this is the type of terrain that really does suck the life out of your battery, because all those collisions, you need extra energy. I think this is all about momentum. 70 RPM on this bike, on the SX, is giving me around about 400 watts, whereas on the CX, same cadence, 70 RPM, it's going to give you up to 600 watts. So to get the 600 watts of this bike, I'll need a spin at about 120 RPM. The speed this bike cross ground is just phenomenal. You can just lean into those berms so easily. What I need to point out though is there's just different timing on this bike compared to the E160. This bike is around about 90 kilos, E160 is probably around about 25 kilos, so different techniques. A lot of people compare this bike to a mountain bike. I can assure you that it covers ground so much faster. Another little climb, more effect on the battery. Another little one. And all these are going to add up. Whoa! Oh, that was pretty hectic. This is where the battery gets a real hammering. Like leaf mold. Ah! Now, on a mountain bike, you're going to be pushing through here. Just reached a bit of a checkpoint Charlie situation, down to 2 bars. I have to say that even on turbo mode, that's been a pretty intense, just over an hour so far. Well, actually more than that. So it'll be interesting based on the bars. Now I'm down at 2 bars. If it's the same setup on the E160, I'll be able to do a bit of a comparison as I'm riding. One other thing that maybe we should talk about, we're trying to give you guys as much information on the differences of the E-Lyte and E160, not just on range, but maybe on handling as well. So just want to dive into this single track, so I'll give you a bit of feedback on that. Now they say nimbleness is down to weight, and in many situations that actually probably is true. But I'm afraid nimbleness isn't just a weight thing. Nimbleness is such things as the suspension design, the shock tune, the geometry, and also the rider has a part to play in how nimble or how unnimble the bike is. Just about to start a session in the bike park. It's been a pretty intense time on the bike so far today. Now I've got this mellow climb. It'll be a question of how many runs we'll be able to get on this section. I find it very unlikely that the E160 will beat this bike because I've been riding quite a long time. Okay, so that's 2 runs done. There's no sign of the battery running out yet. So 3 runs done. I'm now just waiting for the moment that the inevitable to happen. Oh, here we go. That's it. 3.5 runs. Plus, of course, the cross country. So I think that's probably around about 2.5 hours riding time. And even in turbo, that's quite full on. So time now to jump onto the E160 and see how we go. Obviously, first of all, I'm going to have a bit of a break. Okay, we're rolling on the E160. The difference between the E-Lyte and the E160 is I've now got 30% more power. However, I've only got 14% more battery capacity. So on the E-Lyte, I had 400 watt hours in the down tube and a 250 watt hour power more range extender. This time I've got 750 watt hours in the down tube. On paper, I'd imagine the E-Lyte's going to have more range, and because there's less power, maybe some more effort. Really quite interesting, the pace difference across these routes on the E160 compared to the E-Lyte. Definitely seems to be carrying more speed. What effect that has on the battery, I don't know. Unsurprisingly, I think I'm a little bit behind on the E160, but one thing's for sure is that the ride intensity has been absolutely crazy. I certainly don't feel less tired on this bike, that's for sure. You know what, I think I'm carrying more speed. I'm definitely not using the battery. Definitely didn't use the battery through that section as much as the E-Lyte. Here's another moment of truth. Because I know it. Whoa! Trying to get more speed. It's really funny, it's a totally different feel. Like I said earlier, I'm not saying one's better than the other, they're just so different. Oh, this is tough. Whoa! Checkpoint Charlie. So, a little bit behind. I've used a little bit more juice on the E160. A couple of things. Just about to dive into the same trail where we chatted about nimbleness on the E-Lyte. I think one of the best things I've heard on the comparison between, you know, sub 20 bikes and, you know, bikes which are 25, 26 kilos is that when you're riding well, you never think about weight. Weight becomes an issue when you're struggling in a riverbed or a rocky bank going backwards, or a pile of roots, or maybe, you know, carrying a bike up a hill. And that was Chris Ackrick said that. I thought it was the best bit of insight I've heard about mid, light versus full power e-bikes. You know what, you might feel a bit slower, but one thing I've learned on mountain bikes is that feeling versus fact can often be very different. Okay, coming into the downhill section of the route. Pretty tired, I have to say. Okay folks, I hope you're sitting comfortably for these numbers. Now starting off with the E-Lyte, we did 19.63 miles in a total time of 2 hours and 29 minutes. Average speed of 7.9 miles per hour. Still, you know, a great range considering we're riding in turbo mode. Now on the E160, now wait for it, 2 hours and 3 minutes and a total distance of 20.63 miles, which is, you know, probably about just over half a mile longer, and an average speed of 10 miles per hour. Now, this makes me think of so many things. The first thing is, I hadn't expected the E160 to beat the kind of lighter power bike with the 650 watt hours of battery. Nevertheless, I did. It makes me think if I hadn't made the time, I could have probably come here, sat down, had an espresso, put the bike on charge and gone back out and made up the difference. It didn't happen like that, so it doesn't matter. The other thing which it makes me think is, well, what about if I turned that E160 down into EMTB mode or even Tour Plus mode? It would have meant that I'd have ridden about the same speed as the E-Lyte, but also had a load more in the tank. So there's lots to think about here, but I think one of the most important factors is my average heart rate. Now, I was convinced that it would have been more of a workout on the E-Lyte than on the E160, but because of the intensity of the ride, with the continuing chopping and changing of corners, up and down, and doing the climbs and into descents, like there was no time for relaxing. So no surprise, the average heart rate on the E160, the heavier bike with more power, was actually 128 beats per minute average, whereas on the E-Lyte it was actually 123 beats per minute. So kind of tips the whole light to mid assist theory on its head a little bit, but not for us, because we've done a previous video where we had mountain bike, light power mountain bike versus full power, and we kind of found the same kind of numbers. So we're going to go back in the woods and examine a bit more this whole business of what bike actually is more of a workout. Thanks for watching, folks. I hope it's given you some insight into battery range. I think the bottom line is that both bikes give you an incredible range as it is. I remember I'm in turbo mode, so in a normal situation, you'd be riding EMTB mode or Tour Plus, which is going to probably double your range. So there you go.